If you're over 60 and reaching for eggs most mornings, what I am about to share could reshape the entire way you prepare them moving forward. Because here's what nobody wants to admit. Eggs are genuinely nourishing, but they can quietly become something else entirely when you're not paying close attention to how you handle them. The difficult truth is this: the egg isn't the culprit. The real problem hides in the practices around it. Your storage habits, your cooking choices, the way you treat it in your kitchen. The moment you understand those details, you stop wondering if eggs are good for you, and you start protecting yourself through knowledge. I'm Dr. William Lee, and today I want to walk you through the 7 mistakes I observe seniors making with eggs repeatedly. Not to make you anxious, but to equip you with the wisdom that keeps you feeling strong, living independently, and confident in what you're preparing to eat. Please stay with me because the first mistake we're covering affects almost everyone without them realizing it. Let's begin with mistake number 7. Removing the yolk completely out of habit. Years ago, plenty of people received outdated advice about cholesterol, and egg yolks became the villain in their breakfast story. So they started discarding the yolk and consuming only the white portion, essentially throwing out the most nutrient-dense section of the entire egg. Here's where this habit becomes a real issue. The yolk contains compounds your aging brain and eyes desperately need. We're talking about choline, which supports memory and thinking clarity, lutein and zeaxanthin, which protect your vision as the years add up, vitamin B12, vitamin D, and protective antioxidants. This is exactly where older adults get trapped in outdated thinking. They believe they're making a smarter choice, but they're actually eliminating what matters most. Unless your personal physician has given you a specific medical reason to avoid yolks, whole eggs make far more sense than whites alone. I'd like you to pause for a moment and think about your own morning routine. Are you actually eating the part of the egg that supports your body most effectively, or are you automatically discarding it because somebody told you to years ago? That question deserves an honest answer. Mistake number 6 involves transforming eggs into something far heavier than they need to be. Adding excessive butter, cheese, and rich oils turns a simple protein into a fat-laden meal without you even noticing it happens. This one sneaks up on people because the breakfast looks normal. A couple of eggs, some melted cheese, a generous pour of cooking oil, perhaps a side of buttered toast. Add it all together, and suddenly you're looking at a meal packed with saturated fat and excess calories in ways you didn't anticipate. The challenge isn't that flavor is bad. The challenge is that many seniors consistently turn eggs into something that works against their cardiovascular system and weight goals. For anyone managing blood pressure, cholesterol, or body weight, that kind of breakfast creates friction between what you're eating and what your doctor wants for your health. The smarter approach? Use cookware that doesn't require much fat. Keep your added oils minimal. Let vegetables carry the flavor instead. Spinach, mushrooms, bell peppers, and onions make eggs satisfying without piling on excess calories. You get taste and nutrition without turning breakfast into something unhealthy. Mistake number 5 is leaving cooked egg dishes sitting at room temperature. This happens constantly at family gatherings, holiday dinners, brunches at church, and anywhere people congregate around food. Deviled eggs, quiche, egg salads, and breakfast casseroles all become risky when they're sitting out while everyone socializes. This matters significantly for older adults because your immune system simply isn't as resilient as it was decades ago. A foodborne infection that a younger person shakes off easily can actually become serious for you. The bacteria multiplying on that abandoned plate don't announce themselves. They don't look, smell, or taste like a problem. Yet that invisibility is precisely why they're dangerous. If you're hosting or attending, remember this. Keep warm foods hot and cold foods cold. Move leftovers into the refrigerator quickly. Don't attempt to salvage something that's been at room temperature too long. That's not wasteful, that's wisdom. Mistake number 4 is something you probably don't even realize is happening. Cross-contamination in your kitchen. You crack raw eggs, quickly wipe your hands, then touch the counter, your phone, a dish towel, or a cutting board. Bacteria transfer silently with each touch. The eggshell carries germs. Your counter now carries those germs. That towel you grabbed carries them too. Once contamination spreads from one surface to another, those germs find their way onto food you're about to eat raw or barely handle. This is precisely why hand washing after touching raw eggs isn't optional. It's mandatory. Pay equal attention to your cutting boards, knives, bowls, and prep surfaces. If something comes into contact with raw egg, clean it thoroughly before anything else touches it. This isn't drama. This is standard practice. The mistakes happen in home kitchens not because people are careless, but because life is busy. One rushed moment is all it takes. Let me offer a doctor-style thought here. Your body requires more protection now than it did when you were younger. The habits that felt harmless at 30 become genuinely risky at 65. Your kitchen practices need to match where you are in life right now. Mistake number 3 involves ignoring egg freshness and storage patterns. Some people keep eggs far too long, barely glance at the date on the carton, or assume that if an egg looks normal on the outside, it must be fine. But as you've gotten older, your margin for safety has shrunk. An egg can appear perfectly fine and still be well past when you should eat it. Paying attention to how long eggs have been in your kitchen becomes essential. Cracked shells deserve special attention too. A broken shell gives bacteria a direct pathway inside. When doubt creeps in, lean toward being cautious. There's also another piece to this mistake. Many people place new egg cartons in front of old ones, which means they accidentally keep reaching for the older eggs. A simple system fixes that immediately. Place your newest carton behind the older one so you naturally use the oldest eggs first. This sounds too simple to matter, but straightforward systems are actually what keep people safe in the real world. Let me address something viewers frequently ask. How do you tell whether the problem came from the egg itself or from how it was handled? The truth is, both matter. A fresh egg handled carelessly can still become unsafe. A less fresh egg handled correctly becomes riskier. Everything combines. Mistake number 2 is undercooking eggs because of texture preferences. Lots of people absolutely love soft yolks, runny centers, and that barely cooked appearance. That texture definitely tastes wonderful. But here's the reality for people over 60. Undercooked eggs carry bacteria that can survive and then make you genuinely ill. A younger person might handle that as an uncomfortable day. Someone in your age group might face something much more serious. That becomes especially important if you're managing a chronic disease, taking medications that affect immunity, or already dealing with a weaker immune system. This is where confusion emerges. People think that if the outer edge looks cooked, the whole egg must be safe. That assumption fails. The truly safe approach is cooking eggs until both the yolk and the white are completely set. You're not trying to win points for restaurant-quality presentation. You're attempting to keep yourself healthy. And before I move on, let me be very direct. A runny yolk might look appealing, but it's not the safest option for everyone who's over 60. If you're uncertain about your personal situation, that conversation belongs with your healthcare provider based on your complete medical history. Now, we arrive at the most serious mistake on this entire list. The one that catches people off guard because it feels comforting, traditional, and safe. Mistake number 1 is using raw or barely cooked eggs in recipes that were never designed with safety in mind. This means homemade Caesar dressings, mousse, certain desserts, and those old family recipes your grandparents made the same way for generations. People trust these recipes because they've been around forever, yet tradition doesn't equal safety. This is exactly where older adults get caught without realizing they're taking a risk. They're not thinking of themselves as being reckless. They're just preparing food the way it's always been prepared. Yet raw eggs harbor bacteria. Those bacteria can cause serious illness. The excellent news is that this doesn't force you to stop making dishes you love. In most situations, pasteurized eggs offer a better solution. They're specifically created to eliminate bacteria while maintaining the same flavor, appearance, and function in your recipes. You can keep making your favorite dishes. You simply make one intelligent swap that protects your health. This is the biggest message I want seniors to absorb clearly. Getting older doesn't mean living in constant worry. It means updating habits based on what your body actually needs now. Let me directly ask you this. Which of these 7 mistakes did you grow up doing without questioning whether it was safe? That's exactly the kind of comment I want to see below, because your answer might help another senior recognize they're not the only one doing the same thing. Here's what I want you to remember moving forward. Eggs remain a valuable food source, but they deserve different handling after 60. Keep your yolks unless your doctor specifically tells you otherwise. Don't transform eggs into something oversaturated with fat and calories. Never leave cooked egg dishes sitting out. Clean your kitchen properly after handling raw eggs. Monitor how long eggs have been stored. Cook them thoroughly enough to be safe. And don't assume raw egg recipes are okay just because they feel familiar or traditional. The patterns are crystal clear when you look at them all together. Respect the yolk. Control what you add to the pan. Understand timing and temperature. Monitor for contamination. Track storage dates. Cook with safety as your priority. Use pasteurized eggs when raw eggs would otherwise be required. That's the practical foundation for everything else. In the next part, I'm going to show you the everyday kitchen habits that either protect your health or quietly work against it. You'll learn practical fixes for storage, cooking methods, and meal combinations that make eggs genuinely work for you. I'll give you the simple doctor-approved approaches that remove stress from breakfast preparation. Now, let's talk about the daily routines that actually keep eggs safe, straightforward, and beneficial for seniors over 60. Many people think eggs are simply either healthy or unhealthy, as though it's one straightforward choice. Reality is more interesting. The same food supports your health or undermines it depending entirely on how you treat it in your own kitchen. Let's revisit mistake number 6 from a practical angle. Stopping the pattern of loading eggs with heavy ingredients. I understand why eggs taste better with butter, cheese, bacon, or sausage. That's genuinely how many of us learn to enjoy breakfast. Yet when every single morning egg dish becomes laden with rich additions, you're no longer eating a light protein meal. You're eating something that pushes saturated fat, sodium, and calories far higher than you planned. After 60, your body processes these extras differently. What once felt totally normal can actually strain your cardiovascular system, blood pressure regulation, and even digestive comfort. The goal isn't making food boring. The goal is making breakfast work with your body instead of fighting it. Here's the fundamental principle. Let the egg shine as the main ingredient. Add complexity, texture, and satisfaction with vegetables, fresh herbs, or small amounts of cheese instead of turning the entire meal into a heavy accompaniment to eggs. That single shift transforms the entire plate. Now, let's address mistake number 5 from real-world experience. Keeping egg dishes warm at gatherings and events. This plays out when you're relaxing with family, talking with friends, or enjoying a holiday meal. A pan of scrambled eggs sits on the stove. A platter of deviled eggs remains on the table. Egg salad waits under the afternoon sun while everyone catches up. Nobody's thinking about bacteria, because bacteria are invisible. That's precisely the problem. Food safety typically fails silently. For older adults, this deserves heightened attention because an illness from contaminated food can become genuinely complicated if you're already battling something else health-wise, dealing with dehydration, or managing medications. A minor stomach issue isn't minor when you're 65 or older. If you're the person preparing food, stay aware of how long items have been sitting out. Once egg dishes finish cooking, don't let them linger indefinitely. Refrigerate leftovers promptly. Don't convince yourself that something is still safe just because it looks fine. That straightforward habit prevents a potentially serious problem. Let me say something important that many people actually need to hear. Food safety isn't paranoia. It's showing respect for your own body. It's the difference between being thoughtful and being careless about something that directly impacts your well-being. Mistake number 4 is deceptively easy to ignore. Cross-contamination. It happens when raw eggs transfer bacteria to your hands, utensils, counters, cutting boards, or towels. It's completely normal because everyone's busy and distracted in their own kitchen. The issue is that raw eggs can carry bacteria, not just on the shell, but in places you can't see. Once those germs spread to a spoon, a plate, or a surface that will touch something you're eating later, you've created a risk. This is exactly why washing your hands after handling raw eggs isn't something you do when you feel like it. It's part of the actual process. Practical choices help too. Use one bowl specifically for cracking eggs and a different one for mixing other ingredients. Use separate cutting boards if possible, one for raw egg work and another for ready-to-eat foods. You don't need a restaurant-quality kitchen. You need consistency in your routine. Here's something many people think but don't want to say out loud. I've been doing it this way for 50 years. That's probably true. But decades of habit don't necessarily mean safe habit. Sometimes your biggest health upgrade takes 10 seconds and nothing more. Now let's discuss mistake number 3, staying ignorant about how long eggs have actually been sitting in your refrigerator. Eggs can look perfectly normal and still be well past their prime. That's why relying only on your eyes and your nose fails. Proper storage in the refrigerator matters. Using eggs in proper order matters. Don't hide your new carton behind the older one, and forget which one you bought first. Create a simple system. Keep the older carton visible so you reach for it first. That kind of small arrangement turns your refrigerator from a guessing game into an organized space. This becomes even more important if you live alone or prepare eggs only occasionally. The longer eggs sit around, the easier it is to lose track of them. A basic rotation system genuinely protects you. Let me ask you something that matters. Do you actually know how old the eggs in your refrigerator are right now? Most people think they do, but they're really guessing. Guessing isn't the same as knowing. Mistake number 2 is preparing eggs without cooking them thoroughly. Many people genuinely prefer soft yolks and runny centers. That texture has real appeal, but after 60, safety should outrank texture preference. An egg that isn't cooked enough leaves you vulnerable to food-related bacteria, and that vulnerability increases with age. A younger body might shake off an illness. Your body often won't. This becomes even more critical if you're already dealing with a chronic health condition, taking certain medications, or managing a compromised immune system. This is where people get confused. They assume that if the outer surface looks cooked, the egg must be safe. That's simply not accurate. The safer route is cooking eggs until both the white and the yolk are completely firm. You're not preparing food to win a photography contest. You're preparing food that protects your health. Since this comes up constantly, let me be absolutely clear. A runny yolk might be visually appealing, but it's genuinely not the safest choice for most people over 60. If you're unsure whether this applies to your personal situation, speak with your healthcare provider based on your complete medical history. We now come to the most critical mistake on this list. Mistake number 1 is trusting raw egg recipes simply because they're old and familiar. This includes homemade salad dressings, creamy desserts, certain baking recipes, and traditional family dishes that call for raw or barely cooked egg. People have confidence in these recipes because they've existed for so long. But longevity doesn't guarantee safety. This catches older adults because they don't see themselves as taking chances. They see themselves as honoring tradition. Yet raw eggs introduce bacteria risk. Those bacteria can create serious complications. The wonderful news is that you don't have to abandon recipes you love. Pasteurized eggs exist specifically for this situation. They're designed to reduce bacterial risk while keeping all the same characteristics in your favorite dishes. You can maintain your food traditions. You just make one intelligent decision that protects your well-being. This is the central message I want every senior listening to truly understand. Growing older doesn't mean fearing food. It means learning which daily practices need updating. So here's my direct question. Which of these mistakes describes what you've been doing? Share that in the comments because your experience might help another person realize they're not alone in this situation. Here's what matters from everything we've discussed. Eggs remain genuinely beneficial, but they deserve more awareness after 60. Consume your yolks unless your physician advises differently. Avoid turning eggs into fat-heavy meals. Don't leave cooked egg dishes at room temperature. Wash surfaces and hands after raw eggs. Pay attention to storage and freshness. Cook eggs completely. Use pasteurized eggs when recipes would otherwise require raw eggs. These 7 points form the foundation of everything else. Let me bring this home with a doctor message. If you were sitting in my office right now, I wouldn't tell you to avoid eggs. I'd tell you to treat them with intelligence. There's a meaningful distinction. Intelligence means understanding the practices that keep eggs beneficial instead of becoming a risk. The patterns become obvious when you step back. Respect the whole egg. Be intentional about ingredients. Mind your timing. Prevent contamination. Track freshness carefully. Prioritize thorough cooking. And trust only recipes designed with safety in mind. That's your practical foundation moving forward. Now, let me finish with the habits that actually protect you while keeping eggs delicious and straightforward. If this video helped shift how you think about breakfast, please subscribe to Health Tips Daily for more clear, doctor-centered guidance designed specifically for seniors. We focus on practical wellness, everyday choices, and small adjustments that keep you strong, independent, and confident after 60. Eggs aren't your enemy. Misinformation is the enemy. Once you understand what actually matters, you can enjoy eggs with genuine confidence and significantly less worry. Share what you learned in the comments. Tell other viewers which mistakes surprised you most. That kind of real conversation helps your friends and family stay healthy too. Take good care of yourself. Keep making choices in your kitchen that support your long-term health. I'll see you in the next video.